On this week's episode of the RAG podcast, I was joined by Helen Plumridge. Helen is the founder of King Recruit, a specialist recruitment business headquartered in Exeter in the southwest of England. She has been in recruitment quite a few years and started her business from home whilst ending a spell of maternity leave about 4 or 5 years ago. They're now 5 staff. They do mid to senior appointments across the southwest, so they're a local specialist business. And Helen has been, she's really passionate about not only being a female and running your own company, but also juggling being a mother whilst doing the same thing, and also trying to manage that whole work-life balance piece. So like people in the southwest, in her words, don't necessarily live to work, they work to live. So it's more of a balanced environment in general. So the recruitment industry there, or her recruitment business, mirrors that. And I know being in London, that can sometimes get missed or forgotten about. So it was really nice to hear how she's approached her business, and they're still super profitable, and they've got a great team, and they're going great guns for the future. So and a genuinely amazing woman with lots to share, and a story that I think lots of females across the recruitment industry can benefit from. So without further ado, Helen, welcome to the RAG podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Finally.
Yeah.
When did we first talk about it?
I think it was earlier in the year.
I think it was very early in the year, maybe even late last year.
Might have been.
Because I was talking to you as I was launching it.
Yeah.
So it was like January, it might have been January, February time.
Well, I started listening to Hisham's
right, yeah, of course, yeah.
podcast, and he then
said you were thinking about that one, and then it was like, maybe you'd be better for the RAG.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yeah.
Nearly a year later.
Absolutely.
And you've travelled in all the way from Exeter. Is it
all
Exeter?
The way.
Is it Exeter? Or am I making it up?
Exeter, yeah.
And what's the travel time?
Oh, it's only 2 hours and a bit on the fast train. Yeah.
But I feel very privileged that you've made that effort for the RAG podcast.
We've come up for Winter Wonderland as well. So
are you telling me that's more important? No chance. Well, Helen, as you know, I've just given you an intro, but I'm never the best at that. So if you could tell the listeners who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, okay. So my name's Helen Plumridge. I run a business called King Recruit. We're based purely in the southwest, and we look after entry-level management right up to senior and executive level.
Okay.
We've got a team of 5, and just looking to grow and dominate the southwest.
Take over
the southwest,
Wow, I love it.
Which has been my dream for quite a few years now.
So when did you start the business?
The end of 2015.
All right,
and then made my first place.
What is that? 5 years? 4 years? 4 years.
Effectively, I was about 3.5 years sort of trading in terms of billing.
How fast has that time gone?
I don't know. Honestly, don't know.
Well, I bought a house. I moved into a flat in December 2015. And honestly, I was like, when I realised that was 4 years, I was like, what on earth has happened in that time? Like, how has that been 4 years? Like, wow. In some ways, I've changed so much of my life. In other ways, it was blink of an eye.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've sort of found since I got married in 2012 and having kids and so on, now starting this business,
Things just gather pace.
I honestly don't know. Yeah, but it's been a bit of a journey.
Well, tell us about you personally and how you got. I don't want to go into the whole recruitment startup journey, as in how you became a recruiter too much. But you did mention quite an interesting role before, and how did it all come about?
I think, I started working. I lived in Brighton for a bit, and nearly London, but Brighton by the sea is sort of London by the sea, isn't it? And
I've never been. I really need to
haven't
go.
you?
No. So
awesome.
I'm probably the only guy who's never been to Brighton, but
really,
I'll get there.
Yeah, I just fell in love with it as soon as I went there. I just thought, I'm going to live here. And then I worked for Virgin. So I worked for Virgin Holidays, actually, up in Crawley. And that was my first, I would say, proper sales job out of uni. And there was like 100-seat call centre, sales consultant on the phone. And the basic was okay.
Who are you calling? Just people in
it was incoming calls from travel agents and from customers, but you were then commissioned on converting them.
Right. Great training ground.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, on the phone all day, and then you get all the incentives, all crossovers. They used to have, like, on a Saturday, they used to have a sandals competition. Whoever booked most sandals holiday won a holiday to sandals
every week.
Yeah,
wow.
Every week, 7 free flights a year. All the bells and whistles.
Not
great
bad
place
then.
to work. Yeah.
Is everyone a similar age and atmosphere? Or?
Yeah, quite young. But as soon as I sort of realised, wow, what I could actually get commission for just doing my job better, And I started really getting into it from that perspective. And then there was someone who was always in the top 3 out of 100 consultants. And I thought, how is she doing it? So I ended up sitting next to her and realised that she just didn't put the phone down on someone. She didn't put them on hold ever.
No.
Whereas everyone else would put them on hold and work things out.
Yeah.
And
so what, she just chat to him while she was doing
just chat to them, chat them through, build the relationship.
Yeah,
they trusted her, and I started doing the same. And then I used to be in the top 3. Never got to number 1.
Oh no!
But yeah, and I just love sales. Yeah.
Oh wow!
So and
how long were you there?
It was only a couple of years, and then decided to go back to the Southwest.
Right.
Got a job in marketing, actually, ironically.
Yeah.
When I was at Virgin. So I nearly went down that career path. But anyway, long story short, moved to Exeter and did the.
Is that where you're from originally, Exeter?
No, I'm actually from Newquay in Cornwall.
Oh, wow.
Cornish girl.
Beautiful.
Yeah, born and bred, 4th generation.
Wow.
Just don't have the accent.
How far are they apart? Exeter and Newquay?
Oh, hour and 10.
Wow, is it that far?
So
I used to travel. I used to go there every summer as a kid because my uncle lived there. We lived in Crediton in
oh right, that's nearer us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we used to stop for a week with him, and then we'd always end up in like St Ives or Newquay or Penzance or whatever. Like we'd always do 2 weeks. Don't think I went abroad till I was about 13. I thought that was abroad. But okay, so you go back, and then is that how you got into recruitment there or in Exeter?
Yeah, I literally walked down the high street, went into an agency, said, "Can I get some temping work?" And it was Blue Arrow.
Yeah.
And the manager there went, "You haven't thought about recruitment?" And then I got a temp job doing admin, and I realised now that she was lining me up to see how I got on.
What, admin in their office?
Yeah, was doing admin and payroll, and they had an industrial desk, which was really busy. And they had a perm consultant or 2 perm consultants, and then the perm consultant left after 6 weeks. And I was just like, I'm up for the challenge. And I absolutely loved it from day one. Yeah. And that was one of those roles where you did everything from a construction manager to legal secretary, conveyancing secretary to marketing manager, like literally everything. And
wow.
Getting your head around what.
And was it picking people off the high street, or was you in that team? Were you like working on like people walking in and stuff, or? Yeah,
there were a lot of walk-ins. Used to use the paper, used to fax CVs, go back.
So what year was that?
2002.
Right. Okay. So just after the whole .com piece and the millennium bug. You survived the millennium bug. Well done.
Yeah.
I remember I was at school then, and I was like, is the world going to end when we turn to about year 2000? And my stepdad was like, yeah, I think it could. I was like, shit. Better enjoy the last few days then. That's what he was like. I didn't have a clue. So, all right. So you're working at Blue Arrow.
Yeah.
And then how long were you there?
2 years.
Okay.
Probably had the most nightmare experience with the boss there. She was a bit of a terrier, really. And
do you think she'll be listening?
I don't know.
Oh well.
I haven't seen her for years. She still lives in Exeter.
Is she in recruitment?
I don't know. I don't think so. Actually.
Oh, well, hope you're listening.
Yeah. And it just had a shelf life, and I wanted something a bit more, I guess, quality, a bit more specialist. And there was this great company called Calibre that was an independent in Exeter. 2 women, they'd gone out on their own, and they had a team of about 8. I'd seen them all over the PR, and I just thought, I'd like to work for you. So just, gave them a call. And went and got a job there. So
doing the same thing, or was it slightly different?
I sort of specialised a bit in sort of marketing and sales recruitment, and they had a great client base, and they were all over it. And they had quite a captive market in Exeter. Yeah. But what I loved really was just that independent, and the fact that they could make decisions, and if you want to do this bit of marketing, you could. They put money behind it if you wanted to do this or that, and put me through training and.
I remember that. I went from Randstad to Venquis, and I couldn't get my head around. Like when I spoke to, I hope she's listening. When I spoke to Claire, who was my boss, I was in Melbourne, so I've been working like it was about 8 at night, and it was about 10 a.m. in the UK. So it's about this. No, it was early summer, I think, because I came back in August, but it was about say May time, and. I remember, like, I'm used to Randstad, 300 people on a floor. It was loud. Like, not as if they weren't the salesiest team, but just by default, it was loud.
Absolutely.
And then Claire rang me up, and she was like, it was just dead silent. And I was like, I'd had this phone call over the world, and I was like, is that a recruitment company? Like, what are they doing? She was super, super smart and like impressive, but And she's like, oh, no, I'm not in the office today or something. Like, she made it out as though, and then when I actually got to the UK and I walked in this office, it's Regis in Northumberland Avenue.
Right.
And there's like 7-8 people and it was quiet and tight. I was like, what is this? But then quite quickly I realized how cool working for a small business was.
Yeah.
Like so much fun. Like 3:00 on a Friday, they'd just be like, should we just go for a beer? And I'd be like, yeah. And like no one ever did that at Randstad.
No.
It was all like, everything was just managed for you.
I
So
worked at Randstad.
Did you?
Eventually, yeah.
So you went from the Independent there?
No, I didn't actually. There's a bit of a story before that.
All right.
So we were doing extremely well there, and there was a couple of consultants that we were billing 16 to 20 grand a month and going, do you know what? We could do this ourselves. And that was 2006, 2007,
Right.
when it was all...
Everyone was loving life.
Loving it, Rosie. And then, myself and one of the consultants there decided to set up on our own.
Really?
In 2008. So, and then obviously everything happened in 2008.
Yeah. What did you call it?
We called it the Really Good Recruitment Company.
That was the name?
Yeah.
The Really Good Recruitment Company?
Yeah.
Wow, I bet. Did you get the URL, no problem?
Yeah, got
.com.
it.
Wow.
Got it.
The Really Good Recruitment
Yeah,
Company.
I know. So we had to live up to the name, didn't we?
And how long did it last?
Yeah, so we did it for 2 years. And I think just a complete mixture of when now I look at it, I just think we were caught up in the status of running our own business. We did a lot of networking, and I don't think we did enough of just getting down to it and doing some really hard work. And we did work hard, but I think it was tough with the market. I don't know. That was about 10 years ago now. So, think the maturity that we've got now. So, yeah, I just think there's a number of factors. It just didn't work. So, came out of that. It was quite a tough time. It was quite a really tough decision for me in my personal life as well. A bit of a rocky road. And, now you can look back at it and go...
So how did it end? Did you just decide?
I just wasn't really coping with the sort of those peaks and troughs of... 1 month I might have to live on my credit card. I was personally, I was on my, single at the time, and it just felt sort of way out of my depth really at that time for me. I decided to come out of the business, and I'd always had that dream of building this Southwest business, which is what we're doing now. I went back to high street recruitment. So I went to work for Randstad.
Really?
Yeah. But the two ladies that had had Calibre, they'd sold it to Select Appointments.
Yeah, which was
and then
part of
they'd
Randstad.
got bought out by Randstad. So it was actually working back with the same people, which kind of felt great at the time. Randstad was very corporate, just like you said.
Well, I was a school teacher originally. And the agency that I used to use as a supply teacher was Select Education. So I remember they got bought out. So how long till you then left there, or was that where you started out at King after that?
Yeah, so I did 2 years there, and actually, you know what? I actually hated.
You've done a lot of 2 years. Spells.
I actually did 4 years at Calibre.
Did you?
Just
I was thinking you got this 2-year itch.
This sounds a bit been married for 2 years. No. 8.5 actually. I actually hated recruitment by the time I'd finished at Randstad. It just knocked my passion of recruitment out of me, and I actually just thought, can't do this anymore. And actually, I was pregnant and met my husband, and we got married, and I just thought, I'm going to go on maternity leave, and I don't think I'm going to come back.
Really?
So actually did, interestingly, some marketing and bookkeeping for my husband's business. And he's got quite a big hair salon down in the Southwest.
Nice.
I think he linked with you at the weekend, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah. I think he linked with you on LinkedIn at the weekend.
Sure.
Because I was saying Sean's kind of the CEO. He's like really marketing himself, and I think that's where you should go now. You should really market yourself as well as the business. So I said, watch what Sean's doing. So
right, well, I'll drop him a message. Maybe you can give me some tips on the hair. I get a lot of comments, but it's always got to be improved.
I've got no comments.
I'm telling you, recruitment's made me go grey. I've just done a post about it. And it's
really?
100% why I'm grey.
Haven't you been grey for a while?
Yeah, but recruitment sped it up 100%.
Did it?
100%. The pressure of recruitment made you just another level. It was like, it went from being slightly grey to very grey in about a year.
Yeah.
But anyway, off topic.
So I haven't got a clue about hair anyway.
Yeah, so you're at home with the children. Or the child.
So basically, I had our first, and then I just kept my hand in. Really, I did marketing and bookkeeping, and I actually set up an online shop for the hair salon. And then, I don't know, at some point in those 2 years, then had baby number 2. A friend said, do you want to do a bit of recruitment for us? We're really struggling. And I said, yeah, okay, that's fine.
As
and
in an internal company or recruitment?
Yeah, just a friend that had worked for a business and said we need some help. So recruited 2 people for them, and it was probably the easiest thing I'd done in the last sort of 2 years. And my husband said, why don't you just set up on your own doing recruitment? And I thought, yeah, do you know what, you're right. And actually I used that money to fund setting up King Recruit.
Yeah.
And this time I just thought, right, I'm just going to do it really targeted. Slowly. I'm not going to jump into the market and go, here I am. I'm just going to start it slowly but surely.
Did you have that client that you'd already started making money with that was staying with you?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, to be honest, it was quite seamless in terms of no one really knew that I'd been out of recruitment. Yeah. So I started finding that with LinkedIn and things like that. I just, got back in. Yeah, it was kind of seamless. It was just always what I'd done, and just grew it from there. And then
how did you come up with the name King Recruitment or King Recruit? Sorry,
King Recruit. Is a little bit cheesy, but candidate is king.
Yeah.
So, and that rings true. And I think that's our ethos, that, that's your product, isn't it? The candidate is at the forefront of everything you do. And actually, if you've got a great candidate, you should be able to place that candidate. So, plus the sort of king of the jungle kind of thing.
Right. Was there not another King Recruitment?
No.
Not one other.
There's something called King's Recruit, which I think might be education, but they're further.
Just imagine a word like that would be dominated in recruitment already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I just thought it was quite sort of. It was quite a strong name.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Quite short, quite easy. So just went with it.
And having a bit of marketing background and bookkeeping, did you do all of that yourself at the beginning? Like think about logos and websites and.
I didn't actually do it myself, but I knew I had quite a clear idea of what I wanted to do. So then used, whoever to get the website set up and, Did
you spend a lot of time on that at the beginning?
Yeah, probably. Not loads.
I just get a lot of questions around that. Like,
do you?
How much will a logo website matter in the first year? And it's a hard one because like Craig Davies, who was on a couple of weeks back.
Craig Davies?
Yeah.
Not Craig David.
No, not Craig David. I'd love to have Craig David on the ride. I don't know what we talk about. Like, just get him to just talk about his music career in the 2000s. But Craig Davies from Orbis Consultants, who was on a few weeks back, he talked about how he literally created his own logo on like Microsoft Paint. He just got like he got like an O and like chopped it up and wrote the word Orbis and was like, that'll do. And that didn't change for the first couple of years, and they still made millions. So it's kind of like. It's a harder question to answer, isn't it? Like having enough. I think your website can do you some real favors.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to make you the money. Like you have to generate the traffic. You've got to get people to see it.
Yeah.
I think your LinkedIn profile will be more important in the first few years.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your network.
So how did you go about growing it? Were you working at home and looking after the kids as well?
Yeah. I was doing sort of 3.5 days. Then juggling the kids, I was going to a networking event and then coming straight back, getting changed, and then having, baby. So
how would you tell me how you'd structure your day back in the earliest moments? How would you wake up to go to bed? What would it be like?
I'm just really laser focused, so I will literally.
I thought you were say lazy then. I was like,
lazy
focused.
That won't work. Yeah, lazy focused. Just shut myself in the home office and just. Because
were the kids already in like nursery, or did you have?
Yeah, they started to go. Yeah, and then we had a bit of help from my mother-in-law, who's awesome. So I just had like 3.5 days. So I just knew I had 3.5 days to do it, and it's that sort of age-old thing, isn't it? If you've got a day to do something, you'll do it in a day. If you've got an hour, you'll do it in an hour. So I've done all sorts of things like the RPM, Tony Robbins, rapid planning management, and I just made the best of that time and just was really, really focused and targeted and just thought, whatever I do, it's got to get dividends, basically. So, don't mess around, don't be on social media, just do what I need to do.
And how did you go about growing the client base and candidate base in the early days?
I started with the candidates. So just started feeling out to my network with LinkedIn and just let people know that I'd set up. And then I just had people started to contact me through that way, really. And then as soon as I had candidates, I just started targeting the market with,
what level roles were you looking at then? Was it exactly the same or?
Yeah, so it was I would say, yeah, it's about sort of 40k upwards, and then right up to maybe, commercial director level type, and just making some positive introductions for them and just honing it down on each person, and then, just contacting companies. And I just got business from that really straight away because it was the right person for that business. And
you knew that you just look for a similar company and go for
it.
Yeah.
I've always had sort of quite a good hit rate just from being really, really targeted, really focused. And also I'm a great believer in believing in your candidate. So if you interview someone and you just kind of don't really get them, or, you kind of go, something missing here. And I can't get passionate about that individual. And it's nothing personal, but you've got to be excited about that person. You got to think, do you know what?
I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah, I can find this person a job, and I will. So,
I used to be like, I remember getting a guy an interview that was flatly refused based on his CV, and I just rang him up. I said to the client, like, you've got to take my word for this. Like, you have to take my word. This guy is going to kill the interview. Like, you're going to love him.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, Sean, I'll take your word for it. And I'd filled a couple of jobs with him, not a lot.
Yeah.
And he rang me up after. He was like, if you ever want me to meet someone after that, just phone me up. Don't send me the CV. I was like, yes. And he became like my best client.
Really?
Yeah, because it was my passion on the phone that got it.
Yeah.
He would never. The CV wasn't quite right, but I just knew it. There was 3 or 4 reasons why he would have made it. So how did you perform in the early days? What was the results like?
So I had those first 6 months. I was probably making 1 or 2 placements a month, and for me at home.
What's an average fee then?
Anywhere between the sort of 5 and 10 mark. So
it's not bad money at home.
So I was, 3.5 days, and
earning 10 grand a month minimum.
It was pretty good.
Wow.
So yeah, but I was hungry. I was hungry to grow and knew the implications of that as well. Kind of the more people you add, I guess, the more.
How did your husband take that? How did he respond to you going from being like mother, wife, not working to suddenly plugged in 3.5 days, earning lots of money?
He loved it.
Did he? Yeah. I know. If I'm thinking, if my wife was earning that kind of money, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
But did he take any time to adjust to it, or was he dead supportive? And
really supportive. Yeah. Uber supportive. Yeah. And I guess I didn't really have much downtime in between because I was doing stuff for his business.
Right.
So I was never that sort of mumsy, kind of in my pajamas.
No.
And I was quite conscious of that. I didn't want to be a mumsy mum, sort of, losing my head somewhere in nappies or whatever. So no, he's my greatest supporter. So he's fantastic. So
6 months go by, you're making good money, you're at home.
Yeah.
What
changed?
Next? Yeah, what do you do next?
Yeah, so on that same methodology really with candidates, I kept seeing this online travel business, and I kept seeing they were advertising. So I literally just made a couple of little introductions, and the MD was really, really positive and really receptive. And I said, would it be a good idea to meet? Went and met him, and it was one of those golden moments, really. Everyone gets some opportunity in their life. And I sat down with him, and he said, look, we're growing through acquisition. We're private equity backed. We want just one recruitment partner that can hire all our roles. We're probably going to have 5 to 10 positions every month. Actually, what I'd like you to do is come back and pitch to our leadership team. Are you interested?
No.
So.
Wow.
Yeah. So drove back to Exeter, going, did that really just happen?
Was it local enough, or?
It's about an hour away from us, but it's still southwest based.
Yeah.
And we've been working with them for 3 years, so it's not some big secret that we're working with them. So I can sort of talk about them, but in a very positive light. And then I literally remember the day I then went back to walk into their board.
Yeah.
With all I think there was 8 of them sat around the table, and me presenting, sort of saying, just one person working from home doing recruitment, but I'd love to pitch.
And did you give them the honest view of who you were? You didn't make it sound fake it till you make it. We've got hundreds of people behind the scenes. No,
nothing like that. I was really transparent, as they've always been with us. So I just said, and the MD sort of looked me in the eye, goes, do you think you can do this? I went, yeah. And it just felt right. And I walked out with her thinking, I think I might have won that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they let me know at the end of the week, and they said, "Yeah, we want you to come on board."
Did you get any kind of retainer on it, or was it just
there was
fee?
there was a monthly retainer, and then literally the next day it was my 40th birthday party, so I was just absolutely buzzing. Yeah.
So did you have to turn all other clients away then that you'd been billing with?
No, not really. I still
chipped
I was
a
still
few
doing
in.
that. So I literally had stuff coming out of me, at which point I'd been talking to Rebecca anyway, who's in sort of inverted commas my business partner really. And there was always that kind of talk about when are you going to come on board, and this was the greatest opportunity there ever was to get an office and have her come on board. And
So how old were the kids then?
How old were they then? I don't know. Where are we? 4 years ago. Is it 4 years ago? 3 years ago? 2016. What are we on now?
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, so they were like 4 and 2 then.
Right.
So yeah, still not in school.
Still in that really crucial time that, again, like to go and do that, you've got to balance everything so well. Did you stay on the 3.5 days?
I think that's when I started going up to more like 4 days, and I don't know how I did it. Now, so I just managed it.
How did that relationship with that? I mean, obviously you're still working with them, so that's great.
We're still, we've hired about 150 people for them, and so that's one of the most proudest things.
I bet. So what was the first few months like on that project?
They've just been such an amazing client. So they've just been very collaborative and transparent. So there was a lot of work up front in terms of going and meeting them and doing all of that. But after that, to be honest, they've probably been very easy in that they just want to work with you, and they're quick at making decisions, and they're like the perfect client.
Yeah.
They don't waste any time. If someone's good, they'll take them on, and that's how they've worked, and that's how they've grown really.
Yeah.
So, and the ops director there said, we couldn't have grown without you. So for me, that's one of the proudest moments, because, that business has grown as a result of us doing really good work.
All roles in all areas?
Yeah, across the business. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're going great guns. I mean, they're firing.
So how did that change the business over the next 6 to 12 months then? Obviously you brought Rebecca in, but what was that like now you've got something to lose now? Before you were just, hand to mouth. Now you've got a member of staff, you've got responsibility of payment, and you've also got a retainer that you've got to deliver against. Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah. We just managed it because I guess it was like the good old days in recruitment when you've got lots on, and actually the more you've got on, the better it is, in fact, isn't it really? So, but I think we were a bit static in growth in terms of other clients for a while, because we were, that was our main client. So, and Rebecca was pretty much full time on that. Then we took on a resourcer, Laura, to help support that. But that then did eventually kind of get to a level where I could then pitch in for other business. So then we've grown. So I think we've had our biggest spike towards the end of this year, really, where we've taken people on ourselves, and we've got lots of other clients. So
wow. So how did that?
And we're doing some Hoxo media.
Exactly. Yeah, we're
campaigns.
We're doing work with you at the minute, and it's going well.
Yeah, it's going really well. Yeah,
I think didn't you get something straight away? Like in the first week, you got a new client come through.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He said, "You're the sort of business I need to work with."
Yes.
So he'd moved from London down to I won't say where.
Yeah.
But in the southwest, and he's a sort of fairly new startup. But he said, "Look, we're going to be growing, and I think my candidates would love what you're doing. So let's get."
It shows you separating yourself out from others, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. So let's go back a bit. Let's go back to you've got Rebecca. You now there's more money coming into the business. What were you kind of doing monthly at that point once you've got this retainer flying?
I think we were doing 30 a month between us.
Wow.
And we've been pretty consistent at that, really.
So you must have been starting.
We've obviously had a bit of peaks, bit of troughs, but I probably had the biggest placement I've ever had. 1 month, which was a 30 grand placement.
Great.
Just on its own, aside from everything else. So we've had some great stuff.
So you started
like that.
I imagine you started to put money away and thinking about what you're going to do with that. And, what challenges did you face at that point? Because it sounds really smooth right now. Like it can't.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
It does, but it can't.
I'm
have
so
been.
Mrs. Positive.
Yeah, but I love that.
Stuff.
But genuinely, what was it? What were the challenges you faced once you had that? More money's coming in. You're thinking about. You've got a person. Did you challenge? Like a lot of people tell me, I don't know whether to grow or not because I've got this cash now.
Yeah,
and I could sit on this for a year and have $500,000 in the bank. Like, what did you do and how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I guess we've kept on reinvesting it in terms of, especially what we've done in the last 6 months has been big investment for us. But I think we've just put the money towards trying to get new people on. We've had a couple of hit and misses with taking people on.
Who came in and didn't survive?
Yeah. And I think...
It's ironically always the hardest
thing. But actually we've hired recently 2 great people. They're really fired up. And it's felt really seamless. Yeah. And they just felt like they're part of the business already.
Where are you looking to get talent from?
One, Magda has just joined us and she's actually come from High Street Recruitment, but wanted to specialise, so she's doing tech. And then Sam's come on board and he's got a really strong sales management background. And felt like recruitment
sales
was
outside in a different industry,
yeah, different industry.
What was the industry?
Yeah, more sort of B2C, events and also organic food.
Right.
Yeah.
I personally think sales backgrounds are so crucial. Yeah. Because like my knocking on doors days was where I think learnt the skills that enabled me to hit the ground running in recruitment. Because I was walking out like 7 hours a day, knocking on hundreds of doors, having to generate conversation with anyone that opened the door, and having to get them to sign up to a direct debit. And it was a charitable direct debit, so it was positive. It was quite a positive thing to talk about. But wow, like the rejection you got doing that, and it was demoralising. Yeah. But it meant you had that kind of backbone. Yeah. Massively. So what I wanted to talk. We talked a bit about it before, but being a female.
Yes.
That you do you think like you work for those women at Calibre?
Yeah.
What impact did that have on your confidence to go and do what they've done?
Yeah, massive. Yeah. I would say that's probably the reason why. Yeah, I thought, right, well,
how do you think it differs
this
for a female to a male launching a business, especially in recruitment?
Yeah, it's still those stereotypes, really, and it's still that sort of. I think partly it's confidence that women face, but I think it's still that fact that the women in the home. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? But if you want to procreate and have kids, clearly you're going to have to take that out of your career at some point. And if you want to spend the time with them and have a work-life balance and all those sorts of things, then, you've got to consider taking that risk more seriously.
Well, one of the things about recruitment in London is obviously the pace and the hours. And I don't think working at my old business we weren't like the classic, FaceTime was everything, but I was still there at 8, leaving at 7 every day pretty much, apart from Fridays.
See, we don't do that.
Yeah, so that was another thing. Like you said that because you're not. Exeter it's a different world anyway. But how do you approach the whole work-life balance?
We just make sure we have a work-life balance. So, and I think everyone who lives there and everyone probably about 50% of our candidates are relocators, right? And they're looking to relocate their family down and have that inverted commas work-life balance, still have your career. But I think we've grown more organically and we've grown around the fact that we're having a work-life balance. We've got families and all that sort of thing, rather than going, I'm going to work till 9 tonight and do all the hours God sends. And it's never been about that for us in the business.
So how do you monitor and measure performance and motivate performance?
We've got KPIs, but I tend to always focus on the pipeline. Yeah. So if your pipeline's good and you've got a lot of that work exclusively, then that's the story. It speaks for itself. I'd rather you win business exclusively and know that you're going to fulfill that and do a really good job for our clients, rather than just getting loads and loads of business on and just hoping for the best.
But
really. We don't do bun fights.
How do you manage that alongside the work-life bit. So like, what is it practically like? Are people coming in at 9 or 10 or finishing at 4? Like, what's it really like in your office?
We to be honest, we stick to our core hours, so 8:30 till 5. But everyone has a day working from home.
Really?
Yeah. And I get questions about that, actually, interestingly, about the sort of trust mentality, and a lot of recruitment companies don't do that.
No.
I've spoken to other sort of peers in the local area, and they said, well, how do you manage that? How do you
manage it?
Trust.
No, but is there a logic to it though? Like, you do Monday, they do Tuesday, they do.
We try and obviously counterbalance it, and I think it's important to have that kind of team ethic and everyone working together. But I think we're a lot more flexible about, if you need to leave at sort of 4:00, do that. If it's whatever it might be, family related, then go and do it. Not going to be clock watching and things like that. What
systems do you use to make sure people can like work from home and do it properly?
We don't really. Yeah, I've got to be honest. Yeah, I'm not sitting there going right.
No, but do you have like your CRM's cloud based? I imagine. Do you have any other comms tools that you talk to each other, or is it just all email? How does it work? Yeah. We've got
we all talk through things like MS Teams and things like that. So. Email, but I think if someone's working from home for the day, I think it's great just for them to just get on with it and not have all those distractions and set them up. It's up to them, isn't it? If they're gonna get the most out of that day, then go do.
Right. And how?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit more grown up, really.
100%.
Rather than sort of thinking, I've got to clock in.
What about the new people? If they've never worked in recruitment, do you have any challenges with giving
at the
them
moment until they're sort of hit the 3-month mark, we're going to hang off on the sort of working from home. So once they're doing that, I mean, you're at the end of a call, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of an email, you can catch up.
I mean, look, I'm asking you questions, but I'm totally on board with what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got like 9 remote workers at Hoxo. They've never come into 2 of my copywriters. I've never even met them. Yeah, like they've been in Thailand for the last few months. Yeah, I've never met them physically. Like, I see them on video all the time. JJ was working from home. Was it yesterday or the day before? 2 days ago. You can hear him in the background. So JJ's behind the camera and sorting out all the podcasts. But you just let me know in the morning, didn't you? Just got to do it. Like, I don't actually care, as long as we've got Google Chat that we use, which is like Slack. Yeah. And it's built into the G Suite, which is our Microsoft Office. So there's like, if anyone needs anyone, it's like click of a button. It's so easy. I do think I'm building out the sales function right now. Yeah. So I do think if I took a complete rookie who didn't know anything, it would be different. And I know a lot of recruiters have that model where they take absolute rookies, right? Grads or whatever. So I can see how you might need to put in a layer, or like you said, like get through probation. Yes. Yeah. How's your business structured in terms of like management layers? Because it's not a big company, 5 people.
It's not a big company.
So who reports to who? How does it all work?
Yeah, so Rebecca is sort of partner in crime, so she heads up all our key accounts and so on. So she's just starting now to get more into that sort of leadership position. So she'll take on some of that responsibility. So, but to be honest, we're quite flat. I mean, there's just a team of us and we're quite small at the moment, so that will come next, I think, when we look at hiring next year.
So what's the plan? That leads that's a nice question. Lead into it. What is the vision for King Recruit and what are you trying to do?
Just dominate the Southwest, basically.
But what does that actually look like?
I just like the idea of, building our disciplines. So, being that sort of thought leader go-to. So at the moment, we've got sort of tech consulting, we've got sales, I do exec, and then Rebecca, I was going to call her Amanda.
Call her whatever you want.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure she'll like that. So she's heads up our key accounts and things like that. So I just want to sort of build our sectors of specialism. And then perhaps at some point we might have those kind of not ancillary, but those sort of... now I've lost my train of thought.
Go on.
Things that go alongside recruitment, like training, HR... Because, if you've got that captive audience in your client, why aren't you sort of selling those additional services? Yeah.
I would be careful though as well, because I think I'm a big believer in like productizing your offering and having more than just recruitment. But I have in recent times, I'm not going to name them, but I've spoken to quite a lot of businesses that have took their eye off the ball by doing that.
Yeah,
and they've gone, because their recruitment has gone so well. They've gone, well, we can do that, and we can do that, and we know the client base. And what's actually happened is the generator of the business, the recruitment side, has suffered. And they're not that good at the other things. They're not experts in them. They're relying on expertise, not their own. So they've actually gone backwards. And so I mean, I think it's clever, but it's got to be well thought out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I would take someone who is a complete expert in their field to head that up as a, either a sister business within our business or,
Sure.
So South, I mean, there's so much scope in the Southwest. We're sort of, I think a lot of recruiters in Exeter can be quite Exeter-centric, but there's so much going on in the broader Southwest. It's a big region, lots of SMEs, 25% manufacturing. So there's so much business to focus on. So I find it. You
look excited when you talk about it.
Yeah. It's such an opportunity.
How big would you want the agency to be?
So this is going to change every year, I think, because it's fluid, isn't it? I didn't think we'd be where we are now. So I'm as ambitious as each year kind of unfolds, really. So I mean, at the moment, I kind of think, get up to sort of 20 people and then exit and go on to something philanthropic. And
is that the plan long term, is to exit?
I'd like to, and do something.
Would you want it to be like given a management buyout for the people, or would you want someone else to?
Perhaps, I was listening to. Is it David Stone that's done the
4-day work week?
Yeah. Was it him who did the part ownership? No, that was LaFosse.
Simon LaFosse. Yeah, he offered out 30-40% from day one.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting. So I think there's different options, isn't there?
Yeah. And what would you want to do if you exited? What's life going to be like after that?
Well, I've obviously made enough money to just retire early now.
But you're too busy, Helen. You're not going to enjoy sitting on a beach.
I know. And it's actually a long time. Retirement could be a long time, couldn't it? It could be like 30, 40 years if you keep yourself healthy.
Well, you've got to be busy.
I'd like to see my grandchildren be able to run around with them. So, no, I've got just a vision for something like an adventure centre, and I'm a real strong believer in our next generation. I think they are going to be more challenged and need to be more resilient than we've ever been. I think we've had this great sort of post-war era of quite safe, and I think our children are becoming less and less resilient. And I think they're going to face all sorts of a whole world of stuff.
Just based on social media and stuff.
Social media, melting ice caps, rainforests getting chopped down, where, there's something on the news the other day about in the next 12 years, if we don't sort it out, we're going to start having,
oxygen problems or something.
Well, fires everywhere and much more flooding, and we're going to be running out, all the animals are going extinct, and if you watch anything from David Attenborough these days. So I just think they're going to have a lot more challenges, much more than we've ever had. But they're less resilient than we've ever been. You think about your grandparents who were massively resilient, weren't they? So I'd like to do something to really help that next generation to.
So what's this adventure centre all about?
Just to get them out of their comfort zone, get them away from technology, switch technology off, and just get them to do stuff. Whether it's adventures or, science. Oh, look at that.
You're right.
Sorry. And just get them engaged, get them away from normal life, and actually put them out of their comfort zone to make them realise that actually...
the stuff you can do without a laptop or an iPad.
Yeah.
What are your kids like now? When it comes to technology and like the way they interact compared to maybe how we were?
See, I think that it's a classic case, isn't it? They're not out on the streets playing like we did. They're not playing, they're not climbing up trees like we are.
Yeah.
We do, because we live in Devon, they're out on the beach and, Dartmoor and all that sort of stuff. But I think technology, we're quite careful not to have them on iPads and things like that. Probably a bit too stringent, if I'm honest.
Really? So how old are they now?
7 and 5. So yeah.
But it's even when do you get a kid a phone? Like, how do you make that decision?
Secondary school. It's secondary school, isn't it? They have to have one.
They get like bullied if they haven't got one, don't they? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I got my first phone when I was 17, and I messaged my mate. And if I go back to Manchester now and I see him, he's not someone I'll see a lot of. he would still take the piss, and he can recite that first message because they'd all had phones for about 2 years, my mates.
Yeah.
And I was just not bothered. Like, my mum was like, "Do you want one?" I was like, "I just think I'd lose it."
Yeah.
But then I got to the age where I wanted to talk to girls and stuff, and I was like, I've got to get a phone now.
Yeah.
But it was such a big thing at 17, and now like kids in primary school,
They expect it.
they've got iPhones. Yeah. I mean, it's nuts, really.
Yeah.
And trying to keep them mentally safe, not even physically safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can protect them in your house. You can keep them in the house. I used to love that freedom of roaming around the estate and playing in the street and kicking footballs.
Absolutely.
Like, imagine, I can't even
falling
imagine.
out a tree, breaking your arm, maybe. Actually.
Yeah, I broke my arm in the house. Actually, it was one of them rainy days where you get locked in by your parents.
Yeah.
And we decided we were just going to run. Well, I think my mum was out working. My mum used to do a day's work at a clothes shop in Manchester on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And this was while my parents were still together, so I must have been about 5. And my dad looked after us on the Saturday, and he clearly wasn't watching. And we were just running up to the armchair and just jumping and bouncing on it.
Brilliant.
And jumping over.
Yeah.
And like we were in some kind of high jump. I broke my arm. And but yeah, it kind of, those things happen.
Yeah.
I remember getting the cast and loving it and writing on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But now they're so mollycoddled, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Absolutely.
what are you doing to combat that? Apart from the iPad and stuff, what plans have you got? Other plans around that?
I'm just trying to build them up for that independence. And actually, I'm reading a book at the moment. It's I'm gonna forget the lady's name, but actually, she's American and she's a journalism lecturer, and she's her 3 children. One is the CEO of YouTube.
Wow.
And the other 2 are also CEOs of different businesses. They've sort of lived in the Silicon Valley, so they know Elon Musk and all those sorts of people. But she's brought this book called Trust, and it's acronym for, trusting your children, actually building them up for independence. Why are you doing something for them when actually they can do it themselves? Actually realizing that we're quite a safe we're quite a safe country, even America. We're actually safer than what we make out. So it's kind of letting them go and do those small steps of going to the shop and buying something and getting them to cook dinner, but doing it earlier than you think you need to. Yeah. And once you do that and you build respect with them, they actually, they're going to grow in confidence and all those sorts of things. So yeah, it's a really inspiring book. And yeah, it's just made me realize that we just need to do less for them and just get them to...
It's crazy that.
Not get them to clean the house and...
Makes sense though.
Do all of that. Yeah. But why aren't you building them up to be that adult that at 18, really, they should be able to just go out into the world and do their own thing,
And how's life now in terms of so you've got a business of 5 people.
Yeah.
You're turning over a nice amount of money, and you've got your kids are getting to a certain age where they're not old enough to really go out with other friends, easier. But they're still they'll be demanding at the weekends and stuff. How are you juggling everything at the minute?
Well, I'm probably my own worst enemy, actually. So Fridays is supposed to be my day off, and actually up until last Friday, I hadn't had that Friday off since the start of September. Oh, right. And I sat down with one of my best mates and I said, look, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just cut off on a Friday and I'm just going to do my own thing. She said, well, yeah, absolutely. You need to. So, make that promise to yourself. It's really important. And then since then, I didn't do it because we got 2 new people and we're doing a new website and we were doing the Hoxo campaign. Not that I'm complaining. So last Friday was the first day I had to myself, and I went to the gym, went to a spa, had a massage, and just went, so nice. So if I can just have Fridays where I just cut off.
Bit of you time.
And do a bit of me time. I can cope with the rest of it. I can do with being flat out the rest of the time. Weekends are all about the kids and a bit of social.
Are mornings hectic?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a bit of a nightmare.
I keep talking about my dog, so I'm going to talk about it. But
your dog. Hey,
you've just met him.
You haven't got that in.
No, I have now.
Time.
But I'm like this, I'm like this ridiculous dad who's got a dog. But I noticed the difference in the 40 minutes or so before I leave the house in the morning has just gone through the roof. I'm trying to get ready and he's nicking my socks and he's just all over the show because he's been asleep and he's just wide awake. And it's like, it's starting making me think what would getting kids ready for school be like and having a business. Yeah. And
actually, do you know what? It's a partnership, I would say. And me and my husband sort of share it equally. So, some mornings I'm getting up and I'm getting into work for 7. And then at the other end of the week, he's doing that and I'm taking the
nice.
kids. Yeah, so it's just a bit of a military operation, really.
Yeah.
And then doing your morning mantras, going for a walk around the field, doing a bit of meditation, doing a bit of yoga, trying to fit all that in as well.
You get that in the morning?
I try to.
At what time?
I try to. Just first thing, really, when I get into the office, maybe no one's there.
Really?
Quiet.
What time are you normally in?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing 3 mornings, getting in at 7.
Right, so you are going to have a bit of time on your own.
Yeah, just a bit of time of just planning, focused. Yeah,
well,
getting that important stuff done before the day really kicks off with
I go
everyone.
to the gym here at 7:30 on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
And it's wicked. Like, there's a gym downstairs.
Yeah, I saw that.
You see it through the window.
Yeah.
And it is great. Like, I get in. I have to get up early because I have to bring the dog in. I have to drop him off, put him in his cage in the office, go down, use the gym, come up, and then it's like 8:30 and people are starting to come in. But on those days, I feel a million times better than the days when I get in for 8 and I potter around.
Yeah.
It's really important to keep that mental. Yeah, it's so important. One of the things, obviously, about this podcast is it's about inspiration for those that are either in it now in the early days and maybe even further on than you, but also people that haven't started yet.
Yeah.
So what would you say has been your biggest learning? Maybe let's talk to a female audience.
Yeah.
Other females maybe are in recruitment now.
Yeah.
Like I spoke to Ellen not long ago. She was amazing. Yeah. What an amazing story.
I listened to that one.
What an amazing story. But if there's females in recruitment agencies now that are listening to this thinking, could I do it? Like what would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do it. Yeah. I mean, in the early days, if you're just doing it on your own and going out on your own, yeah, that's quite brave. But actually, when you start doing it in those first couple of months, don't overthink it too much. You're actually just doing your normal job. You're just doing your day job. When it's just you, I've got a friend who's interestingly just going to go and do it on her own. She's working for a big firm. And she's going to set up at home. And I said, do you know what? It was actually the easiest part of, this is the more challenging part for me. Now we're growing it.
Everyone said that. Like year one, when it's just you, is quite good.
I was just doing my job.
Yeah.
And just go with it. Just get your website set up. Pick your hours if you're balancing, kids and things like that. It does help to have a supportive partner, I've got to say. I mean, I didn't have that when I had my other recruitment company, and I think you do need someone there or you've got a really, really good friend that works in recruitment and you can just buffer off them and pick up the phone and things like that.
I spoke to a guy today, actually. I spoke to a guy today who's he's got his own agency and he works from home, and he just said he enjoyed chatting to me. Like, he's not ready to work with us, and it was fine. Like, I was pretty honest with him, but lovely guy, like genuinely lovely guy. And he just said, I just really enjoyed bouncing off you for an hour. And I was like, mate, you need to get like a network or something. Like, go and meet people, because it's a fucking lonely job after it. Because you're completely like giving energy constantly to other people. If you can't put the phone on and like whinge or smile or chat about whatever to someone else, that can be difficult. Yeah.
And I think it's got a shelf life, because I did it for 2 years and I'd done the online shop and stuff before that for 2 years. So effectively, I worked from home for 4 years. And I just got to the point where I just thought, do you know what, I am a bit isolated. So I think you've got to leverage that. And if you want to grow, I mean, you can hot desk and all sorts. I mean, I used to go into an incubator and just sit, make some sales calls in there. And there's like all sorts of people doing all sorts of stuff.
Well, we went into a hotel. JJ, out 6 months in a hotel. Wasn't it? Citizen M? If you're listening, Citizen M in Tower Hill, thanks. But we went every day for 6 months. Yeah. Into a hotel like lobby. Yeah. To the point where they put signs on the table saying this is not a co-working space. Because we would buy like one coffee in the morning and there'd be like 8 of us around a desk.
You're those sort of annoying people that just turn up. Yeah.
They hated us. They hated us. After a while, they're like, "You're going to buy another drink?" I was like, "We bought one an hour ago." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but you're still here." I was like, and it got to the point where the coffees collectively were more than rent. Really? So I was like, "We've got to go." Like, we got an office. But you can be so creative now. Yeah,
I think just that, on that note of being a female as well, I think, I don't want to say it is harder, because maybe I'm doing everyone a disservice, but I think you just got to back yourself and you've got to get that confidence that you can do it. And whether it's a friend, partner, whoever, get that person on side, or go into partnership with someone if you really like them and you think you could work with them,
it's always
and just go for it. Yeah. And I've I find a little bit, that you get a little bit of stereotyping about you're a mum and you're working, you've got your own business and you're working all those hours. What about your children? And I find that really archaic.
Do you ever feel guilty about that?
No, I don't, because I think we've got a really good balance. And
you can see why people would, though.
I'm a bit alpha anyway, so I'm kind of like, oh well.
But you can see why some people would.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, they can't comprehend why you wouldn't, be.
Did you go to like classes like where there'd be other mums and stuff and things like that in the early days?
I didn't really last very long with those.
my old boss was like proper like the most powerful recruiter I've ever met, and she was like, she said just couldn't handle the conversation. She's like, I need to get back to business chat because it's just all this goo goo gaga stuff's killing me.
And often you find yourself talking to the guys because they're talking about business and it's more interesting. Yeah, and I often find that. So I'm actually trying to build a sort of executive female leadership group at the moment, but just more to scratch my own itch.
Or in Southwest?
Yeah, just to scratch my own itch, as to say, actually, let's make some friends with our peer group, because it can feel quite isolating when you're in a senior position, and also sometimes you grow up faster than your friends might have stayed. And no disrespect to any friends that have stayed just having kids and things like that, but you kind of get to the point where you want some female friends that you can have those chats with and be a bit. So
how are you?
Be a bit alpha.
Are you planning that, or are you doing that to get that group?
Yeah. So I've got there's a few interested parties. Just really have a glass of wine. Once a month, twice, every other month, and not to force it in any way, just literally to have a peer group and
it's perfect.
Have a couple of glasses.
People say you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
Yeah.
And if you are spending time with people that are completely different in their motive, it starts to change you. And the more you can spend around, like that, one of the reasons I love this podcast is because I get to spend time with people like you. And I think every episode I learn and bounce off the entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
And it's so powerful, and I couldn't go into a job now where I wasn't surrounded by entrepreneurs, which wouldn't fit for me. So that's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
You're gonna if you get big enough, you're struggling to just have a glass of wine. Would you have to be a bit more organised and get a bit creative with it?
I don't think so, no, because there's so much around, or there's a few things around that are really formal when, let's have to pick this topic and all that sort of thing. It's really just about making friends in a peer group.
If you have like 50 people turn up.
It'd be great, wouldn't it? Right party. Yeah, let's go to Val d'Isere or somewhere.
Well, do you know what? I'm planning on going skiing over New Year. Have you been skiing before?
Yeah, do you know what? Not for about 10, 12 years. Because, good.
I've never done it. I've never done it.
Haven't you?
No, I've never done it.
Yeah, for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, we're not booked it yet, but me and my business partner, we just went to a yoga retreat at the weekend.
Did you?
Me and Amma took my wife, his girlfriend.
That's very metrosexual, isn't it?
Very much so. I mean, it was one of them, like, do you know when you go on holiday and you come back knackered and you're even more tired than you've ever been? And the honeymoon was great, and then I went to Turkey with her family, and that was fun, but it's just so hectic with the wedding. We didn't really enjoy, relax, and we've been so busy. And Amma went to Greece with Jess not long ago to a retreat. And I was just watching his Instagram all the time going, I want to be there. And then I said when he got back, why don't we do something as a force? We found this place in Alicante called Masqui, Masqui. Beautiful, quaint building right in the mountains. So it's like an hour's drive from Alicante. And then the food is all like a vegan diet, which is not really anything I've ever done before, but I quite enjoyed it.
We're all going vegan in our office pretty much
really?
at the moment.
Watch the Game Changers documentary on Netflix.
Yes.
Oh God, if it is true,
I could talk for an hour on that.
If it is, we'll do that next time.
Yeah.
But we went to this retreat, and then we had like yoga, a little bit of like sound meditation. I basically just slept. We had a massage every day. We did like long walks. It was, oh my God, I came back the most ready for work and the most happy. Like, my wife I looked at her, I was like, you kind of look different, like your skin looks different.
Yeah, everything's relaxed.
She works long hours, and so now I'm like, right, skiing's the next one. That'll probably be a bit more boozy and fun, I imagine, but I've never done it. Yeah. And now I'm like, I could always just go to a beach holiday. I've done that years and years, so I want to start doing more things.
Same thing over and again.
Doing more. Like the first night we got there, we had this blindfolded meal, so it's like, there was about 20 Spanish people around the table, and then Amma didn't do it. They ate earlier. So me and Fids sat there blindfolded and had food like tapas with your hands without being, and you couldn't speak. They just played music and like They were like blowing in your ears and like giving you little it was mental.
Good on you.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. They played like Elton John, Your Song halfway through. It just made me laugh.
Okay.
I was in like all Spanish and then banging Elton John. But yeah, if anyone wants to, I'm not being paid for this, but
no.
Have a look at Masqué in
Masqué
in Alicante. Yeah, it's cheap as well. I think about 600 each.
Right. Okay.
All your food, all your accommodation. It's wicked. Helen, that's time. So you've basically
made it through.
You've made it through an episode of The Rag. Look, I think you've got a really inspirational story, and I mean, obviously, I know you. We're working with you guys, but I'm genuinely excited to see what you can do and what happens.
And you, likewise.
Are you happy for any of the listeners to reach out, and especially if the females out there want to ask any questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
LinkedIn, best place to get you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah, all my contact details are on there as well.
Brilliant.
So,
we'll tag you in all these posts. Thanks so much. Well, let's have you in again in the future. Let's get an update on King Recruit and see where we get to.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
No worries. Yeah. Well, look, guys, that wraps up another week, another episode of The Rag. As always, this podcast is about bringing our industry together. So please do get on LinkedIn, start sharing your comments, opinions. The more people that see it, the more people that listen to this podcast, the more I believe the industry will be stronger and grow. Also on the iTunes store, we do the episodes will get more listeners, the more ratings and comments we get. So get on there and help us out as well. I'll be back again next Wednesday with another episode of the Rag podcast, where we interview another recruitment owner and tell their unique story of growth. I'll see you soon.